Lord Windgrace versus another ramp commander, Gishath, Sun's Avatar. We have a couple of answers for Gishath, so we will keep that hand. We also have means of ramp if we can get into Azusa sooner rather than later. Lord Windgrace is 5 mana in Jund for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker, and we'll get down that tap land and go over his abilities. 5 loyalty. He's +2 is discard and then draw. If you discard a land, you draw 2 cards instead. -3 is return up to 2 lands from your graveyard to the field. And then -11 is destroy 6 target non-land permanents and create 6/2/2 cats with Forest Walk. We'll get down another tap land with our Verdant Catacombs. And yeah, good to have Verdant Catacombs in the hand because we do want to get into Ramunap / Crucible of Worlds as soon as we can. We'll just throw that in the bin, and I think we want to definitely get a black source. We'll just get black and green, I think. Is there anything else that comes in? Right, well, we'll grab that then, because that may well come in tapped if we don't draw into it at the correct time. And Damnation is nice. We didn't get another black source. What did I do that for? Already making mistakes. We'll go for Azusa and get some ramp, and if our opponent has an answer for it, then so be it. We do at least get some lands into play, and there's not a fat lot our opponent can do about it. We'll probably keep that mounting and get out Lord Windgrace next turn, and then we can draw a couple of cards off of him. Go over our opponent's commander as well. Gishath, Sun's Avatar is 5, 6, 7, 8 mana in Naya for a 7/6 Vigilance Trample Haste. When it deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library and throw a load of dinosaurs revealed that way onto the field. And yeah, we're just... Okay, well, we can certainly ditch a land from our hand now, especially seeing as how we've just drawn into one. Let's get rid of the mounting. And then hopefully draw into a black source. We don't, but we do get into Crucible of Worlds, which is nice. So we'll just set our opponent off on the 30 turn clock. And then pass back over. Yeah, so this is the type of thing we want to be doing. Crucible of Worlds / Ramunap. Playing cards out of the graveyard as well as from our hand. And then if we can get lands into our hand, either via drawing things or using Kodama's Reach, Cultivate, things like that, then we can discard them to Lord Windgrace. And yeah, there we go. We just outramped our opponent. The aim there is to have a land in your hand. If you have a means of playing the land from your graveyard, then you can just throw it away with Lord Windgrace and then play it again with the Crucible of Worlds or Ramunap or whatever other means you have. I mean, the commander itself gets lands out of the graveyard, so that is exactly what we want to be doing. And yeah, see you in the next one. Lord Windgrace versus Sheoldred, the Whispering One. That's a pretty good hand, actually. We'll go for a turn 1 Forest into Worldly Tutor, and I think... do we want to fix our mana? Well, we have time to think about it. I want to see... Yeah, I think I want to see what we get into first. We could Worldly Tutor into Sakura Tribe Elder and try and get ourselves some red mana. But I think we might rather have an Azusa. We have plenty of fetches in the deck, so the chances of us drawing into those is pretty high. Worst case scenario, we can use that Scapeshift to get ourselves some red mana. That is not what Scapeshift is in here for, of course. That is in here with a... what is it called? What is it called? Yeah, we'll just get down this tap land. We can carry on thinking about that Worldly Tutor. In fact, actually, I think we just go for Azusa. No, we want a Crucible of Worlds next turn. I assume our opponent is holding on to lots of removal, so an Azusa might not stick anyway. But yeah, the escape shift goes for the red land that comes in tapped, and then whenever if you have 5+ mountains in play, whenever more mountains come in, it lightning bolts something, and I cannot remember what the name of the card is. But that with Prismatic Omen makes all of our lands mountains, and therefore we can just lightning bolt things like crazy. So that is exactly what escape shift is in here for. Go for Sol Ring here, and then we can Crucible of Worlds and hold up the Worldly Tutor, which I think is pretty good. Yeah, it would be nice to get into a fetch, especially with Titania. Titania is a really good commander on her own. 5/3 for 5 mana. When she enters the battlefield, we take a land from our graveyard and put it into play. And whenever a land we control hits the graveyard, we get a 5/3 elemental token, which obviously works with fetches. So not only could we do with some fetches to fix our red mana, but we could also do with an Azusa or something that allows us to play lots of lands a turn. What can we get with Worldly Tutor? I don't think we can get anything, to be honest, that will help us out in that way. Oh, actually, 2, 4, 6. No, we can't get. I was just thinking of the Titan, Primeval Titan. Well, that's something to do at least. We can go for Nissa Vastwood Seer. That unfortunately only gets us a basic forest, but we'll certainly go for it. Thins out our library a little bit. I'm not having the fastest start. I have had some games with Lord Windgrace before now, recorded a couple of them, and can get off to a pretty fast start, but then of course your opponent just scoops, so not sure how entertaining a video that makes it. Okay, our opponent got down Cabal Coffers, and they sacked their Burnished Heart to get some more swamps, so that Cabal Coffers has just become a threat all of a sudden. Now that we have 6 mana, we can go for that Primeval Titan, which I am now just hoping that I've put in the deck. I can't remember. Kind of threw this deck together, getting in my excuses early there, but yeah, I did just kind of throw this deck together. It's an amalgamation of my Omnath, Locus of Rage, and Gitrog deck, both of whom are in the deck. So why don't we... there's Omnath. And we have Gitrog down here, but we want the Primeval Titan, which is there, and that will allow us to get some fetches. So we'll go for that right now. And yeah, we want at least one fetch. I might just get... what do I want to get here? Well, we'll certainly use it. We can have a look at what we've got. I think I'd like to grab... We'll get Wooded Foothills. And we will get... Do we want Evolving Wilds? We'll grab Evolving Wilds, and then next turn, if we get to swing in with the Primeval Titan, then we can go for Urborg and Cabal Coffers. The only problem with that is that will switch on our opponents. Well, not switch it on, but it will give our opponent more swamps. But they already have lots of swamps, and it looks like in mono black they're likely to be just running lots of basics anyway, so not too worried about that currently. If our opponent manages to get down Sheoldred Whispering One, which I'm assuming we're going to see next turn, then we can get down Song of the Dryads. They can deal with things like that by using things like Nevinrael's Disc and the Oblivion Stone. What else could they do? Spine of Issar. Ghost Quarter, Wasteland, things like that. Because Song of the Dryads, of course, is Enchanted Permanent. The Enchanted Permanent is a forest land. So if they had something like a Wasteland, it would behoove them to target their own commander with it so that they could actually get it out and try and play their game. Okay, our opponent is going for Sheoldred. They have 6 cards left in hand and 1 mana held up. So they might have a Tragic Slip or something like that. Okay, now they have access to 3 black mana if they want it. They might go for the Throat or something like that. Nice new artwork just come out for Phyrexian Tower with a nice new frame as well. I think I'm in the minority when I say this, but I don't like these old brown framed cards. I try to avoid playing with old framed cards whenever I can. I always like to go for the newer stuff. It's just not my cup of tea. Okay, and Sheoldred is going to force us to sacrifice a creature, which we can't do anything about. We'll just have to go for Nissa here. Would have been nice to flip Nissa. Then we could have thrown out the 4/4 Elemental. And we could have sacrificed that instead. But instead of that, we'll go for Song of the Dryads on our opponent's commander. They might just sacrifice it in response, but it does at least get it out of the way so that we can swing in with Primeval Titan. And I think we're going to get Titania down after this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll only get 1 token off it, unfortunately. Our opponent deciding what to do here. They can make 3 black mana if they sacrifice their Sheoldred. Goes into the command zone and not into the graveyard, which might tell us a little bit of something about what our opponent has. And then why don't we empty the black mana from our opponent's pool. Go on to the beginning of combat phase and then see if we can swing in with the prime time. Okay, here we go. I think it might be good actually to go for Gaia's Cradle, especially if we have Titania in hand. So why don't we try that? Wasteland would be good as well to get rid of that Cabal Coffers. So why don't we go Wasteland and Gaia's Cradle. And then guessing our opponent just takes it. It's the problem with Skurstag High Priest. I think you're going to have more luck with this thing in multiplayer. In 1v1 it's just really difficult to get going. Maybe in a token strategy, something like Taser Ores of Scion. I think I had it in my Taser deck for a little bit, but it was so inconsistent. If you get it going, it's awesome, but that's a big if. So why don't we go for a red source here? We'll go for a Tiger. I think is okay. And then we can we need to play the Wooded Foothills, and we'll go for another red source. And this is exactly why we want Crucible of Worlds as soon as possible, so that we can do things like this. Which is the one that needs 2 basics. That's the one, Cinderglade. And now we can go for Titania, and that will of course fish out our fetch land, so that we can do it again. And then we have Evolving Wilds as well. And the reason I got Evolving Wilds, it's the only fetch, if you can call it that, the only fetch land in the deck that doesn't have us pay life to do it. We do have a few basics that we can go for. And sometimes if you're just using fetches and paying life all the time, it can really cost you, especially if you have something like a tapped Mana Vault or a Mana Crypt on the field and you keep getting hurt. Or if your opponent keeps managing to get damage off on you. Vandal Blast isn't going to do anything for us currently. I think it's time for us, especially if we draw into a land, that would be really nice. Be nice to draw into a land and then go for Lord Windgrace. We can discard it into the graveyard and then play it straight out of the graveyard with Crucible of Worlds. Okay, our opponent has opted for a demon, 6/6 flyer with Morbid. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, destroy a target non-demon creature. And that notably isn't a May ability, so if we kill one of our own creatures or our opponent kills our only creature in play, it will have to target another non-demon creature, and I don't think Sheoldred... Yeah, Sheoldred's a Praetor. So if our opponent took out our last creature, for instance, and then only had Reaper of the Abyss and Sheoldred in play, this thing would have to kill Sheoldred. I'm not sure if our opponent is aware of that or not. We'll find out soon enough, I'm sure. 3 mana, maybe 4 mana available to our opponent if they decide to sack the Skurstag High Priest to the Phyrexian Tower, which they do. So they're going for a 4 mana spell here. And Vedalken Orrery. You may cast spells as though they had flash. That is really good. I'd rather our opponent didn't have that. That might be Vandal Blast worthy for a single mana. And we'll go for... Oh, and of course our opponent, yeah, they get to blow something up because the Skurstag High Priest died. I think we need to get rid of that Phyrexian Tower then. We might just have to go Phyrexian Tower and Cabal Coffers off of 2 Wastelands next turn, because we don't want our opponent to be doing this with any kind of frequency. And every time we sack a land, we get a Titania trigger, which is a free 5/3 elemental. Grab ourselves another black source here. We only have 2 currently. We'll get our... I think we only have 2. Yeah, we do have 2 basic swamps in the deck. And then why don't we see what... Yeah, a red and a black source here would do us some good, I think. I just have to think about which one we want. Well, that one would come in untapped anyway at this point, so we'll go for the Cryptghast is the shock. So we'll go for that, so that we don't have to shock it in later. And here we go. Alright, and that is good. We get into a land, which is what we wanted, so that means we go Lord Windgrace. Now we get to discard the Stomping Ground. And we'll play it later. We're not going to play it this turn because we want to... Oh, actually, we might play it this turn. Yeah, because we haven't played a land yet, so we can Wasteland, get rid of the Phyrexian Tower. I don't like multiple Wastelands on my opponent, but when it's Phyrexian Tower and Cabal Coffers, I make a special exception, as you can see. And we want to expand this graveyard now, so that we can see what's going on. And we'll get rid of our opponent's Cabal Coffers as well. So that was our first land drop for the turn. We can only make 1 land drop a turn, can't we? Yeah, there's no extra land drops for us. So in that case, we'll go Vandal Blast for a single mana on the Vedalken Orrery. We don't want to deal with that thing. Our opponent is going to struggle to get down Sheoldred now. We'll go for a Cultivate. Do we want to... Yeah, we'll Cultivate. And that will put a land into our hand so that we can discard it with Lord Windgrace. We want to keep some mountains in the deck in case we go for Scapeshift without Prismatic Omen. We don't have many, but might be the difference. So we'll go in at our opponent with a couple of elementals here. That just pushes 5 damage through. Obviously one of the elementals is going to die here, but we do at least get 5 points of damage in on our opponent. I think we're in a much better state here. They have 4 cards in hand. We have means of card draw. They can of course swing in at Lord Windgrace, but we're just going to plus it anyway. And obviously deciding to block here. And they might just go for Titania, which is what you would assume. Yes, they certainly do. Next turn, assuming they don't get another creature out, we'll just go wide on our opponent and get 10 damage in on them. They might play another creature though. Or we may just be seeing a board wipe. Have to assume that they swing in at Lord Windgrace first though. Okay, yeah, just as I assume, they're going for a board wipe there. Note to anyone watching, they had the chance to swing in with their Reaper from the Abyss that has flying, so they should have got 6 points of damage on Lord Windgrace there. And they're going for an activation on Primeval Titan. So let's see what they grab here. They might go for their own means of land destruction to get rid of Gaia's Cradle, although that isn't actually doing anything for us right now, thanks to that board wipe. Plus we can get lands out of the graveyard anyway, so not sure what they're going to go for here. In fact, because of that reanimate costing them 6 life, they may well have put themselves into lightning bolting territory. So if we can go for Scape Shift, I think that's the game for us. That will be 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, we just need 4 mountains. So if we would need 2 mountains to make the Valakut switched on, plus 4 to bolt our opponent to death. Is 4, 5, 6 mountains. Now, do we have 6 mountains in the deck is the problem. Okay, well, why don't we have a look and see what we've got in the deck. Don't necessarily have to get a mountain with this. And we can get a mountain out of the graveyard with Lord Windgrace, but that is 3, 4, and 5. And then if we get one out of the graveyard, Stomping Grounds is a mountain, yeah. So we'll get Bayou here, and then return. Do they come in untapped, these things? Oh wow, they come in untapped. Okay, well, yeah, we'll go Stomping Ground and Wasteland. And yes, I'd like to pay the 2 life on that. And then if we go into, well, we don't have to Wasteland yet. That's just in case. Now if we go, well, we'll tap down some mana of the cards that we are going to sacrifice. Yeah, we'll get rid of Gaia's Cradle. It's not doing anything for us. So we go Scape Shift, and we will sacrifice. We need another mountain to switch that. I think it's 5, and then every mountain after that, lightning bolts. So if we go Valakut, mountain, and then 3, 6, 9, 12, that should do it, I think. Might just sack the Bayou just in case. Alright, hopefully that does it. And we'll grab ourselves Valakut, and I've just realised we need Vesuva in the deck, don't we? Then we can have Vesuva enter as a copy of Valakut. So I've already thought of an improvement that we can make, and it's taking an age to click the lands, which is really annoying because I do want to get this done on our opponent. show you all what's happening here. Badlands, Smouldering Marsh. Come on, Modo. Smouldering Marsh, and there's one more remaining. We'll go for Thespian Stage, and then we get to bolt our opponent to death. So there we go. That is exactly what the Scapeshift is in here for, to do that with. Typically we do that with Prismatic Omen in play, but seeing as how our opponent, and Prismatic Omen by the way is a means of, say GG to our opponent. Prismatic Omen is a means of getting all your lands into the realms of being every basic land type. Whoops, there we go. Yeah, so all our lands would be every basic land type, which means they're all mountains, and Valakut would trigger no matter what land we had come into play. So glad I got to show you all that. That is Lord Windgrace, new commander, just came out 24 hours ago at the time of recording, and I've been really looking forward to playing with this commander, so hopefully you all enjoyed that, and I will see you all in the next one. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.